Yeah. Is this it?
Let's put a pin in that real quick.
Hey Ty, it's me, Irma. Hey, I'm calling or I'm texting or I'm messaging with some unfortunate news. I did see the video, the whole thing that happened at Wise Guys and stuff, and it just didn't look very good. So, because of that, just because of the video itself and what I saw and stuff, I'm going to take back my offer as far as having you host the Chingonas show, because I just think that is just too fresh, and the show is about empowering women, and I didn't like some of the stuff that was on it. So that's my own decision that I'm making. You know, it took me a while to think about it, and this is the decision that I'm coming to. So I'm sorry for taking up that date from you, that Saturday. Go ahead and keep the. I know it's an inconvenience, but yeah. So that's just the way it is. Sorry. So all right, Ty. I'll see you later. Bye.
Just to start off, this is Ty Rivera, the absolute best LGBTQ comedian in the world. That was Irma Ruiz, who's been a friend of mine for a while. I have no hard feelings towards Irma, but I will tell you guys the way that situation went down and why I really don't care anyway. Last Saturday night, when I was on my way back from Sacramento, I got a message from Irma on Facebook saying, hey, I need to talk to you. And so I was like, okay. And I was like, well, you can hit me up now. We're on the road, but you know, I have some time to talk now. And so she hits me up. She's like, all right, then I'll call you right now. She calls me. We're at a truck stop. Me and Bruce Leonard had stopped for some gas. So we're at a truck stop somewhere in the middle of I don't know where. And Irma tells me that the ticket sales aren't going well and that she wanted to know if I would host the show last minute and it would be doing her a favor. And I was like, I'll check the date and see if I'm open, because it was for today, this Saturday. So if you guys have a chance and you want to go to the show, check it out. I'm not saying that you guys shouldn't. I don't have anything against Irma. But I do think it's silly of her to hit me up asking her to do her a favor. And literally what I told her was, I'll check the dates. That's what I said first. And then I changed it to, as she was telling me about the way things were going, that I know I'm not on the road next week. So anything I would have would be a local gig. So if I have anything, I'll go ahead and cancel it and just do your show, because I was trying to help her out. She was charging a little more for tickets than I know that the Vegas locals are going to pay. And so I told her, can we drop the ticket prices for my people at least? I mean, as far as what you're doing on your end, if you think that that's a good strategy, have at that. But can we drop it for my people? And I was going to hit people up person to person. I hit a couple of people up person to person, but nobody had confirmed. And so for me, it's like, don't hit me up making it sound like you're firing me from a job that I never asked for. You asked me to do you a favor. I said I would do you that favor, and that's the way it worked out. And this message, I didn't even hear it because she sent it to me on Thursday. And lately my sleep schedule has been off because I've been posting so much content. And I do all of my recording and editing in the middle of the night because that's usually when I feel like talking. And so I haven't been sleeping a regular schedule. I sleep during the day. I wake up in the evening. I immediately went to the gym when I woke up on that day. I saw Irma had sent me a voice message, which I don't really listen to. Well, it was a voice memo on Facebook, and I don't really listen to voice memos because I feel like if people want me to see things, then they'll just send it to me in text and I'll know what it is they're saying right then. But like I said, still not tripping about anything. I'm like, whatever, I'll talk to her when I talk to her. So then she comes into Ocha. We're at Ocha and she comes in and, I knew she was going to be in town. So we greeted her like Norm from Cheers. It was just a big like, what's up, Irma, blah, blah, blah. You know what I mean? Like that kind of thing from the mic. And I wasn't thinking anything. I just thought maybe she showed up to do stage time or maybe she showed up to say hi. Irma's a comic. So if Irma decides to show up, she just shows up. And we were going to ask her if she wanted some stage time. So then I'm walking in the back of the room, which is where Irma is. And Irma is like, hey, can I talk to you for a minute? I need to talk to you. And I'm like, okay. And so I was like, let's just go talk over here. And I take her to like a quiet area of the restaurant. And she was like, I just listened to your podcast, Papacito. It's just too much. Like, I just listened. And I'm just like, I'm trying to run a show right now. Like, leave it in the comments. I don't care about talking about this right now, but I'm trying to keep my face like somewhat like I give a fuck. But I don't care about your opinion on my podcast right now. I'm trying to run a show. And we give $75 away, sometimes $50 because I wasn't in town, but now it's back to $75. And so I have to pay attention to comic set. So I would rather do that than listen to whatever you're talking about right now. Like, whatever you're talking about is not important to me in the least, not even a little bit. I don't care about your show. I don't care about your opinions on my show. You pay for none of the production. You pay for none of the editing. You're not part of any of the creative process. So why am I hearing your opinions right now on my podcast? But like I said, I'm trying to be cool. I'm trying to be like, okay, whatever it is, it is. And I thought she was going to tell me. She already told me that she was probably going to lose money on it. She pretty much was guaranteed to lose money on it. And so I'm thinking that she's going to tell me the show's canceled. And instead she goes into, Papacito, it's just too much. And she starts like poking my chest like, why did you have to do that? And whatever else. And I was like looking at her and she was like, so I decided that I don't want you to host the show because it's just too fresh. And I was like, all right, cool. And then she tries to like continue with her opinion after she just said that she doesn't want me to host it. Like, for me at that point, I'm not tripping at all. Cool. I don't host the show. That's all it is. And of course you would let me keep the money. I didn't back out on you. You chose to have me not do the show. And I don't care what the reason is. If I'm not doing it, then I'm just not doing it. Like I said, I'm not tripping at all on that part. But I'm not going to sit and listen to your opinions. I don't give a fuck. And that's what people got to remember. When you come to me with your opinions, I've got to run that through my do I give a fuck filter. And there's a good chance that I really don't, because I'm not here for opinions. I know the role that Irma plays on the San Antonio scene, and I respect that. You know, to a lot of the comics there, she's kind of a motherly figure. But for me, she doesn't play that role at all. 1, I've been doing comedy longer. 2, I'm better at stand-up. 3, we're probably about the same age. Maybe she's a year too old. I don't know exactly. Maybe I'm even older than her. I don't know who's older, but I know that we're around the same age. So I'm not looking to you for advice in my life. And also when it comes to this situation, I really don't need anybody's opinions because everybody has been silent as I've been getting bullied by Delilah. And that's what it is. She's upset because she thinks that she got wronged in some way. And so she's been upset ever since then. But what she doesn't want to face is that she's really upset because I don't want to be friends with her anymore. I don't want to hang out with her anymore. I don't want to talk to her anymore. And hanging out with me, especially in her situation because of where she is in comedy, does come with a bit of clout. So when I stopped talking to her, she lost that little bit of clout that she had for being able to say she was my friend. And she constantly says we stole Ocha for her. Let me put this to you in the simplest way possible just so everybody knows what happened. And I'm not going to go through the whole story. I'm just going to put this little part in the most simple way, simple form, so people can understand it. It would be like, because I've had a relationship with Ocha for much longer than I've known Delilah. The truth about mine and Delilah's situation is we hung out for a month or a month and a half. That's the most is a month and a half. I want to say it was a month we hung out. So all these feelings that she had, and when she said
it was one of the best relationships I've had in a long time.
I don't know where that comes from. I've never felt that way about anybody that I haven't been inside of or hasn't been inside of me. So obviously there's more emotion on her end than there is on mine when it comes to that. But as far as Ocha goes, I've known them for a long time now, since I first got here. Chaz Raz used to run a show there. I used to headline that show regularly. Technically, I would make more money to headline it back then than I do to run part of the show at this point. I don't mind that because AJ does a lot of the work, but we're not going to get into that right now. What I am going to tell you guys is I had a relationship with Ocha. So when Delilah wanted to start a room and the scene did need a Thursday night, and if it wasn't for us, there's Jokioki, which is run by Ray Love, which I'm going to talk about Ray Love in a minute. I love Ray Love. He's my friend. Which I'm going to talk about him in just a second too. But he runs Jokioki from 8 to 10 or something like that. And that's a cool show. I did it not too long ago. Him and Jay Coldwater run that show together. Great show. I wouldn't tell anybody not to go. Go to that show. That's what I want this scene to be, is for people to be able to get more than one set in a night. Just like when Conan had his show up the road from us at I don't remember the name of that spot, but he had a show up the road from us. That too, I was happy about that because I was like, people get another spot they can go up to. That show did not actually end up lasting. It turned into a mic and then it just didn't last. And so what happened was the scene needed a Thursday night. I was down to make that happen. Delilah said she wanted to run it. I didn't want to run an open mic, so I let her figure out the details. But like, I was the way she got even a meeting with Ocha. But Ocha's agreement in the end was with me in the way that if you look at it like this is a very simple way. It would be the same as if I walked in with Delilah to buy a car and I was the co-signer. And then she figures out the details of the deal and then I pull out as her co-signer and then she still tries to carry on with it. And then they're like, well, no, we don't have a deal because our deal was technically contingent on you having this particular co-signer. So then she starts trying to make it seem like she has an independent agreement with them. And they're like, no, our agreement really was with Ty, not with you. You were just supposed to host it. And so I tell her the same thing. She doesn't want to accept it. She tries to make a big deal with them and she makes it so she's not even allowed to go to Ocha anymore. So since I had already told Ocha that I was going to run that night and they had already done some promotion for our first night because obviously they wanted it to go well because Ocha is a business. So what they want to do is what a business does and make money. So they were like, we've already promoted a bit, so we don't really want to just completely drop it. So that's when I hit AJ up. AJ said he was willing to do it as a favor to me. AJ wasn't looking to run an open mic, but he said he was willing to do it as a favor to me. And AJ handles all of the stuff that Delilah otherwise would have been handling because I was going to be very hands off. I've never made a secret of that. I've never tried to dispute that. But was it Delilah's deal? No, it wasn't Delilah's deal. I just told you what it was. And I have no reason to lie because I don't care what anybody thinks about me. That's the biggest thing people have to understand. People will lie to you because they want you to feel a certain way about them or feel like they're a particular person. I don't care what people think about me. I do a podcast because I'm entertaining and because this is what I like to do. Like, I really do enjoy doing my podcast. But as far as trying to make you guys think I'm a particular way or I'm a particularly good person, I don't try to do that. If you think I'm a good person from knowing me, great. If you don't, great too. I'm fine either way. And really, I think that all the people, and there haven't been many because Delilah has burnt a lot of bridges and she doesn't realize it. She tries to lie to people and be like, everybody likes me. Nobody likes Ty. No, nobody likes you is what it is, Delilah.
This is live streaming everywhere, right? So I'll put it like this, right? Anybody in here gamble?
Yeah.
Well, don't gamble on Delilah when it comes to this. It's not happening, right?
And that's what upset you, is I exposed that. I pulled the curtain down on that particular night, and it's going to continue to fall on you because everybody's over you. What Irma doesn't know is that Delilah, there's somebody that refers to Irma as their comedy mom, which is cool. I'm not clowning that, anything like that. I'm friends with this person. They're the ones that told me this story. Delilah wanted to hook up with this person, so she went to two of this person's friends and told them that. That person got the message from them and told them that he wasn't interested. Then Delilah herself tried to go pick up on him, and he let her know person to person that he wasn't interested. So then she started trying to tell him that Irma was actually trying to fuck him, and he was like, Irma's my comedy mom. She's not, it's nothing like that. Please stop saying that because it's not like that. So Delilah tries to convince this guy that Irma is actually trying to fuck him when that's not the case at all. Irma's married, and Irma's, like, as far as I can tell, she really is about her husband. Like, he travels a lot for work. She travels a lot to do comedy and for different, like gambling and stuff like that. Irma's a fun person. Irma's a good person. That's why I say I'm not mad at Irma, but I'm just not going to listen to a lot of opinions on this kind of stuff because Irma hangs out with a lot of people that don't like me. So she hears a lot of people talk shit about me and she never stands up for me. So why are you going to come to me on Delilah's behalf and be like, Papacito, it's too much? Who are you telling that on my behalf, Irma? Because everybody you hang out with talks shit about me. to the point where you have, like, sometimes I don't approach Irma because she's talking to people that I don't care for, and I'm not going to be around those people. And one time she tried to approach me on it, and that time I did have to get very firm with her because she was like, why didn't you come over and say hi? And I was like, because you're talking to so-and-so that I don't like, and I'm not going to be around that person, not even for you. Don't mistake me for something other than what I am, Irma. If I don't like somebody, I don't go around them. I'm just not built that way. That's not the way I work. But getting back to Delilah, the reason that a lot of people are sick of her is because she'll try to gaslight them into thinking that they're kissing my ass if they're cool with me.
I was warned not to come here tonight, actually, right? I was told if you go there and fuck with these guys, you're gonna get in trouble. I was told that I was here to kiss the ring. But I don't kiss rings, yo. I'm from New York. I don't give a shit. I don't fucking care. I'll go anywhere. I'll spit my jokes. I'll do whatever I want to do.
There's something wrong with them. And then any guy that doesn't want to date her is either gay or a creep. And then she tries to get people canceled all the time. Like, she's done that so many times now. Like I mentioned Ray Love. One time Ray Love did a joke or a series of jokes she didn't like. And then she was trying to get all of us to not allow Ray Love to perform anywhere. And that's where that was the first time that I started to not like her thinking. Because I've been friends with Ray Love for a long time now, as far as me being in comedy here in Las Vegas. So at least for the last 4 years. Well, I was hanging out with that girl for 1 month. And then there she is, like, trying to tell me, yeah, Ray just shouldn't be around. And I was like, yeah, I'm not going to agree with that ever. And I had to put my foot down with her and just be like, if that's what you're trying to do, I'm not down at all. Like, Ray Love should be around. Ray Love is something different, has a different voice. Ray Love has a great laugh. And when I say different voice, I mean a different voice in comedy. He has a laugh that's very infectious. He's very supportive of a lot of comics. He has my back specifically. He's always been super cool with me. Doesn't ever make a secret of that. Lets everybody know he fucks with me. So why would I be in any way a part of that, especially when what he did was jokes? Now, whether you like his jokes or not, or his take or not, that has nothing to do with me. I don't care about that. I say a lot of things people don't like. Technically, Delilah says a lot of things a lot of people might not like. So, when she does comedy, which is rare. But then her and this other girl were trying to get Ray, quote unquote, canceled. And so I was not down with that at all. Then she decided she didn't like Davian. And so she started to try to spread rumors about him that can be very damaging. And she's always going after people in different ways. And it's just like, stop. Not everybody that doesn't want to hook up with you is a creep or gay. So stop doing that. Not everybody that you don't like has to be canceled or shouldn't be around. So stop with that. Bugging me all the time. Stop with that. If you had any real friends, if Delilah had any real friends on the comedy scene, they would have told her, stop fucking with him. Eventually he's going to get tired of you and he's going to say something back, which is what happened that particular night. Like, for anybody else, it would be bullying, but it's because certain people don't like me that nobody will admit that Delilah was bullying me or trying to. She was constantly standing next to me, and I'm not exaggerating at all. A lot of people have witnessed it. A lot of people have seen it happen where she stands next to me and she's like, this motherfucker's a loser. This motherfucker's not going anywhere. Well, bitch, where do you think you're going? Like, technically, you're trying to get to where I'm at. I actually headline. So what is it that you think you're going to accomplish? Where is it that you think you're just suddenly going to ascend to in comedy without at least hitting the spot that I'm at right now? Like, that's what it is. Like, what are you doing out at the mics right now? And for anybody that doesn't understand, let me make that relatable for you too. I actually go out to comedy spots to do comedy. Once in a while, I'll show up to a show just to support. But really, my thing is I go out to comedy shows and open mics so that I can do sets, so that I can work on my stuff, so that when I go on the road, I have new stuff. And so I'm there for that purpose only. She is there so that she can socialize and drink. So if you're going to be there socializing and drinking, that's your business. And I wouldn't tell you not to be there. But what I would tell you is that if you're going to be there in that capacity, then don't make any problems. Don't make any waves. Nobody needs you for that. This isn't Real Housewives. Nobody wants to live that with you. And I don't know why you want to live that way. And like I said, people should have told you eventually I was going to get tired of you. So eventually I got tired of her and I decided to say something and she didn't like what I had to say. Because you can say whatever the fuck you want about me. You can say that I don't really headline, and I'll just be like, yeah, these are the places I was headlining the last 2 weekends. And anybody that was looking at my stories or looks at my Instagram can see where I was headlining the last 2 weekends. Talk to Bruce Leonard and find out where I was headlining the last 2 weekends. But that might take verifying. But what I'm going to do is call you a fat, disgusting bitch and say you've got a loose corset and a dry wig, and everybody's gonna look at you and be like, well, proof is in the pudding. But Delilah's a liar, so she's gonna be like, what pudding? And I'm gonna be like, the pudding you ate, you fat bitch. And everybody's gonna look at you and laugh again, because everybody knows that what I'm saying, even though it's not the nicest thing in the world, is true. You are fat, you do wear a loose corset, you do have a bad wig. And so when she was talking about she was gonna put a restraining order on me, I was like, okay, let's see how this plays out for her. Because here's the other thing with Delilah. Delilah isn't actually her name. So if she files a restraining order on me, she's going to have to put her legal name on the restraining order. And that's going to be more information out there than she wants people to actually have, because that is a matter of public record. So anybody can search the restraining order and find it. So there's that going on. Also, there was never any kind of physical threat made towards Delilah. Also, that day and the day before, the day that she was supposedly putting the restraining order on me, and the day before, she was harassing me through friends, like sending AJ a message that says, share this with your bitch, and it was her thing with whatever. That's not the way restraining orders are designed. Restraining orders are not designed so that you can continue to harass somebody from behind the security of a restraining order, which I think Delilah is probably smart enough to know that, but I'm not really sure by a lot of the spelling errors she made on her Facebook post, Instagram post. Everything that was sent from her, or, you know, people sent me things regarding that situation because everybody knew what was going on, and it was all sent by different people. So this is how much people actually like you, Delilah, is that everything I got sent to me by different people. Nobody likes you. That's what you don't understand, is that people put up with you because they don't want to deal with your crazy. Like back when she was threatening Davian and trying to say things about him, there was a point where his girlfriend at the time called me and she was like, why is this girl doing this? And why doesn't anybody stop her or tell her anything? And I told her specifically, I was like, because everybody knows she's crazy and she'll dedicate her life to this kind of stuff. She will truly drop everything she's doing outside of work, but she doesn't care about her kids. And when I say that, I'm not joking even a little bit. Like, for me, if I had a family, if I had kids, if I had something that I really cared about other than Snoopy Bijou, which this is how you know I'm not lying, because I do get home to Snoopy Bijou as soon as I can, but especially if I had kids, I would definitely be out for only the amount of time that I needed to be out. Delilah instead is out the entire night, and I'm seeing what she's doing in a lot of cases, and it's absolutely nothing. It's nothing to better herself. It's nothing to get further in comedy. It's nothing to do with actually building a career. Technically, what she's doing is hurting herself, because when you're first starting out, you shouldn't really be getting into a lot of drama or problems with people. You should just be working on material and working on getting better. That's why I don't ask a lot of the newer comics to get involved with this kind of stuff, or I don't get mad when they stay out of it, because I feel like you're doing exactly what you should be doing, which is staying above all this shit. You should be staying out of this because you're actually trying to get somewhere in stand-up. So work on your material. Work on networking if you're going to be talking to people. Work on building good relationships with people so you can get on shows, so that people will ask you to actually do things, so people will recommend you for things. That's what Delilah should be doing too, and that's why I originally was nice to her, because I thought that that's what she actually was trying to do. But once I saw that she was more about the drama than she was about doing actual stand-up, of course I'm going to get turned off with that and be like, no, I don't want to be part of that. I don't want to co-sign for you on any of that. I don't want people to think that I'm associated with that. I have my own problems with people, and whether or not people like to admit it, my problems with people have been legitimate problems with them professionally. Somebody tries to steal your jokes, that's something you have to address unless you just want to let it go. But for me, I didn't want to let it go. So when I finally got tired of Delilah, the fact that anybody, including Irma, would try to tell me, hey, I don't care what you like. I'm not here for what you like. I never made it seem, nor do I make it seem on my podcast. Like, what you got to understand is, yeah, on my podcast, I'm me. But like when I'm out in the world, I'm even more me, and people know not to approach me with that kind of shit. Like, I don't care what you do and what you don't like. You don't have to like anything about me at all. Stay the fuck away from me is the way I feel about that. I am not here for your approval on any level. I am not running anything by anybody. I have a mother I get along with very well. If she were ever to tell me anything about anything, I might listen to it, but at the end, I'd be like, yeah, I appreciate that, Mom, but you don't really know what I'm going through right now. So to have anybody come to me in any kind of matrix, that's almost insulting to me that anybody would come to me in that position, because it's like, I have a mother, and my mom has told me that ever since I was super young. When anybody would try to like hit me with any kind of shit where they were trying to like tell me that I should think this way or I should do this way, my mom would tell me all the time, I'm your mother. And if I'm not telling you what you should be thinking, none of them should be telling you what you should be thinking either. And hand to God, that is the way that I was raised. My mom has always been like that with me. So did I get served with an actual restraining order?
Yeah. Is this it? I hate you, sir. This is a bank. Oh, damn it.
Someone needs to speak to you real quick.
This better be my fucking...
You've been served, Ty. You've been served.
I just know this that you're gay.
No, I didn't get served with a restraining order. I was going to have fun with that situation, and I talked about that when I was at Ocha, because she was going to have to say in court what I had said about her, which I said she was fat, I said she had a bad wig, and I said she was disgusting. So the judge is just going to look at her and be like, where's the lie? I mean, maybe that's not a nice thing to say, but did he also say water is wet and the sky is blue? Because those things are just true as well. So I don't really know what you thought was going to happen. Restraining orders are not just for if people say things you don't like. Technically, we all can say anything that we want to say, and nobody has to like it. Like I said, Delilah has been talking about me forever. So I don't know why all of a sudden now she wants to get tender about it. But if that's what you want to do, then you're welcome to do that. But don't try to get the legal system involved, and don't try to lie to people and act like I'm getting a restraining order. I got a restraining order because somebody said words you didn't like, because that's not what a restraining order is for. Like, at no point have I ever, even privately, threatened to do anything physically to Delilah or anything to her property. Like, really, what I want is Delilah to just 100% disappear. Like, that's what I would like to happen. I know it's not going to happen. She's not going to do it because she's a miserable bitch and her life sucks. Like, she talks about me and says that, me and my parents don't get along. I'm always with my parents. My parents are my favorite people in the world. So I don't know where she got that. Maybe because her parents are terrible and always gambling all her money away. But she has to keep her parents there, because one time she was telling me this when we were friends, and I told her, well, why don't you just tell your parents to move out of your place? Because, her parents have kind of commandeered her place. And she was like, well, I can't because they watch the kids. And I felt like, bitch, why don't you watch your own kids? But I understand childcare can be expensive, even if she were only out for the allotted amount of time that she would need to be out to do actual stand-up. But like I said, she doesn't do that. She's out all night. She's out all the time. She's really out there way more than I am. And I'm single and just have Bijou. But she's out there like she doesn't have a life, like she doesn't have a home. And then she's saying that I'm homeless. And it's like, bitch, you're the one that lives like you don't have a home. I'm home almost all the time. So I don't know where you got the idea I was homeless, but you're the one that's living like a homeless person, always out on the streets doing I don't know what, because like I said, nobody's fucking you. Like, she tried to say that where she said that I was shaming her about being fat and slutty. I didn't shame you about being fat. I said you were fat. That's a matter of fact. As far as being slutty goes, I said the complete opposite. I said nobody wants to fuck you. That's what I said. And that's, like I said, her thing is that she's always trying to make it seem like any guy that doesn't want to be with her is either gay or a creep she turned them down. And it's like, nobody thinks you're turning anybody down, Delilah. Nobody thinks that there's just throngs of guys that are trying to come at you, and you're delusional is what the problem is. So I went ahead and put this up. Like I said, go to Chingonas show. I know I said bitch a couple of times when it comes to Irma. That's the way I talk. So like that too. If anybody has a problem with that and feels like protective of Irma and feels like I was being disrespectful, have those feelings and stay the fuck away from me. I'm not here for your approval that way either. Like, I like Irma. I'm being very clear about that. If anybody wants to go to the show, I'll even put the information for the show down below in the description box. I'll be putting the flyer, I'm sure, on this video so that people can see, so people can go to it. I'm not at all against Irma. I don't dislike Irma, but Irma should never overstep her boundaries with me. Don't overstep where you are with me, Irma. I like you. I agreed to do you a favor. When you took me off from doing that favor, I didn't give a fuck about it. I won't do you a favor again, though. I'll tell you that. Don't ever hit me up again and be like, hey, I really need you to do this thing for me. No, that's done. That me doing something for you. Now, if you ever want to hire me for anything and it's enough money, which is going to be more money than what you paid me to not do this show. That's the other thing Delilah doesn't get. Like, she thinks she did something to me by not allowing me to do this show or hitting Irma up so I wasn't able to do the show, because I know Delilah in some way got a hold of Irma, and I don't care about that even a little bit, because my thing is, now I get to have the night off, and I still ended up making that money, which I ended up giving away to a friend of mine that needed a little bit of help, or I felt like needed a little bit of help but didn't want to say it. And so I ended up giving that money straight to another friend. I gave it to him yesterday. And so, you know, and when Irma says that the show was about women's empowerment and whatever else, cool, but I'm not down with that particular cause. Like, the way I feel is like women are like everybody else. So I'll try to help you if you're a woman and I see you on the scene, because I know that it can be harder and whatever else. But at the same time, to me, women's empowerment is not about you being able to say whatever the fuck you want about me because I'm a man, and then I have to be nice because you're a woman. For me, that's nothing to do with women's empowerment. And if this show were really about women's empowerment, when Irma got into trouble with ticket sales, she wouldn't have come to me, a man, to help her figure it out. So anyway, this has been Ty Rivera, the absolute best LGBTQ comedian in the world.